समस्त को नमस्कार। रेडियो कोरापुटर समस्त श्रोता को आज एक नियारा आलोचना पाई निमंत्रण करुछु। आम समस्तंकर अति प्रियर एवं छात्र माने जहार श्रेणी को जीवा पूर्वर अति सतर्कतार सहित जाइथांती से अति प्रियर सार DAV कॉलेज रे अध्यापना करिथिबा एवं समस्तंकर द्वारा आदृत होइथिबा नीलकंठ पाणी सार, जहाँ को समस्ते पाणी सार बोली जानते। पाणी सार क्लास को जीवा बेलू को देखा हुए जे क्लास रो समय जहाँ थिला मु से समय पहुँची जाइछि तो नहले सार भीतर को क्लास को जीवा को मध्य मना करदेवे, कारण एकाग्रता एवं निष्ठा यार प्रतीक होउछन्ति नीलकंठ पाणी सार। आज आमर सौभाग्य भवानी भाईना सहित आज आसी हम पहुँच जाइछु तांकरी घरे सहित कथबार्तार छल आमे से समय को साउंटिबा, छात्र छात्री मानकर सहित तांकर जो संपर्क थिला से नियारा संपर्क किसी जानिबा एवं तापरे तांकर जीवन धारा एवं इंग्राजी प्रति तांकर जो एते ममता से ममता संपर्क रे जानिबा। कारण आज मध्य जदि सार सहित कथा हेबे तेबे आपनको डिक्शनरी खोजिया पड़िबो से भली जने सार। आज तांकरी सहित कथबार्ता करिबा, तांकरी जीवनी तांकरी समय एवं से मध्य दे कोरापुटर समयटे को आमे जानिबा को चेष्टा करिबा। सर आपनको नमस्कार। आमे स्वागत करछु रेडियो कोरापुट को। आमे जानिबा को चाहबो आपण कोरापुट को एते नियारा भल पाउछंती एवं ता सहित इंग्राजी को एते सुंदर भाव भल पाउछंती एवं छात्र छात्री को प्रति तो आपण जण होउछंती अति प्रियर सार। एते सब बंधन केमिति मैनेज करि पारले आपनको जीवन रे?
Look, my dear, when I came to Koraput to appear for the interview as a lecturer in English, I was quite new to this route. When I saw the serpentine roads, red soils on both the sides of the road, the green vegetation all around me, and the air that inhaled was quite different than that of my native place, because I had come from a hot place, and gradually when I reached Koraput, it has already devoured me by half.
What was the year?
I simply could not know. If I fail, if I miss the interview, it will be very difficult for me to leave Koraput. Perhaps I will decide to stay here and work as a primary school teacher, then prefer to going back to my home.
So which was the year?
But fortunately I got this particular post of a lecturer of English, and I was the first lecturer of the institution. It was a revered institution, and if I am right to recall, the president of our college was none else, the governor of Orissa, Dr. Ajodhanath Khosla. He used to come to visit. At his age, the gait, the agility that he showed, walking along the dales and the ravines of the present Landiguda, where he had speculated to have his institution, doubly encouraged me to stay that smart, that innovative, that understanding, and those pair of eyes to see the beauty, the heavenly wind, the divine touch of the water, and the incessant rain. All these things were not only dear, but I wanted just to cling to them. I wanted to keep them in one embrace, but that was not possible. But all these things have generated a sort of feeling for this place. Never to forget, and making the living, having the experience was a noteworthy thing. Because in a college, you do not work, you do not teach to walls, you do not teach to furnitures. You come in contact with hundreds of students, boys and girls, of different classes, in different dresses, from different states. There were students from Punjab, there were students from Kerala, there were students from Tamil Nadu, there were students from Odisha. And this medley of students talking varieties of languages, well, just tickled me to know languages. But unfortunately, I could not break into the southern languages like Telugu or Tamil or Malayalam. But I wondered, when my students of these places came to me, they spoke perfect and good English. I was surprised whether I am worthy to be your teacher, their teacher. Because unmistakably they are talking. Even I tried from their conversation to pick up a mistake so that the next day in the class I will catch them and ask how such a mistake they could commit. But invariably I failed. When I went to class, I was stickler to time. And particularly, I wanted not to read out a poem if it was poetry. If it was an essay, I did not go line by line to explain the meaning of the sentences. For me, the intention of the author was more important, and the essence they have put in their essay was still more important, which I wanted to convey to my students. And I spoke in my own inimitable language. I say inimitable because that is the word that is still keeping my old students very close to me. They are still loving and affectionate. I fail to recognize them because age has its own footprint. But I am being a lean fellow. I did not have anything to lose. I remained almost the same, looked almost the same, and if it is not a what should I say, describing myself in my personal rather personality. The type of mustache I used to keep, I still have that. I have not changed. I talk in the same way when I meet my old students, as if I am talking to them in their classes, or just they're outside the classes, and I wanted to know whether they have really understood what I told or not. And almost in a requesting voice, I ordered them, well, if you do not understand, if you do not ask, you ever remain a dull student. You may read poetry, but you can't be a poet. So, the very essence of poetry, for example, when it came to John Keats, I remember, to quote that particular famous line, a thing of beauty is joy forever. That everybody knows. But before John Keats, nobody has told this line. Nobody has written this line. Why it was John Keats who wrote that. So catching that moment and translate them or feeding them with words and in a nutshell and in a single line, well, that is still remembered. So that is what he had learn from nature. And for that, he had no teacher for this. But whatever he saw and whatever he had been taught during his college life, they got mixed together. And this particular poetry, this flow, this came out.
Sir.
So that way, I tried to mold my students. Not that there were not unruly students, not that there were no uninterested students who simply waited for the bell but not for the words of the teacher. Them also I knew, I understood. But I never admonished them as long as they were silent and sitting disciplined inside the class. But a little murmur, little turning of the face this side or that side, that immediately provoked me. And I blurted out in harsher terms, either to mend yourself, to correct yourself, or honorably leave out the class. So for this, students were afraid of. But the way
they loved you.
But the way I told and taught, all the students were not dullards. There were intelligent students. They could catch, they could understand, and they could put intelligent questions, and that invariably delighted me. Now, something has gone to their minds. Now they have come with such a question. Without that, without understanding, this question would have not come to their mind. So I am glad I am able just to put something in their head. So this contentment is the inspiration for a teacher. They say if a teacher molds life, well, it is not exactly molding like in a potter's shop, taking a ball of clay and just whirling that wheel to bring out different shapes of pottery. But you can draw a parallel, because now I find students whom I had taught in intermediate, in BA honors, and all these senior classes, they are far flung. Some are in London, some are in America, some are in Dubai, in beautiful business. Some are here are flourished lawyers, and many of them are very good and popular teachers. And when I see this panorama all around, and by happenstance, if I meet them, well, I feel a thrill in my life.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for remembering your days with the students, and also how you dealt with the students. And the best thing that you had said before we came to camera, that life has to enter into the age, not the age should enter into the life, the experiences.
Okay.
That we came to know through your examples and your passion towards the children and for the love. And whatever you have said, whatever you have recalled, that matters a lot for the students who might be listening today, and they must be recalling that how dynamic was the classroom situation, and today was nothing less than that. It was a complete classroom. It was complete a learning session for everybody to learn the language, and learn of love, learn life's experience, and how it can impact the age, and age cannot surpass or it cannot control the life.
Your very appearance at this moment, unplanned, all uncertain, has enlivened a few moments in life, of my aging life, in this present evening.
So today another one, sir was saying that you may have a lot of MA, but unless you add N to it,
Yeah,
You cannot
I
be
was
a man.
telling this to my grandson.
And we are fortunate that we have a teacher whose name starts with N. So unless we combine with certainly
He
I cannot
wants
be that.
that my first letter of my name, he will take it away to make him a man.
So we are grateful. आमे कृतज्ञता जनाउछु सारंकु सार एते समय धरी आम सहित कथबार्ता कले तांकर सेही समयर कथा को आम सहित बखाणिले आम सहित कथबार्ता माध्यम रे सेही समय को आमको नै गले जो समय रे शिक्षक एवं छात्र छात्री भितर नियारा संपर्क थिला एक भावर संपर्क थिला एक स्नेहर संपर्क थिला जो स्नेह जो भाव माध्यम रे कविता गुडी को प्रवेश करूला जनक भितर आउ जनक भितर कविता को बुझाइबा को पड़ुनथला कविता आपे आपे बुझी ही जाउथला सेही भली एक परिस्थिति भितर को आज आमको नहीं जाइथबा जगु सारक पाखरे हम कृतज्ञता जनाउछु सारंकर अगणित छात्र छात्री पाखरे जे सारंकु सेमाने जेहेतु एते भल पाइछंती सार आज मध्य आपण मानक सहित सेही भली भाबरे कथा करिबा पई एठारे उपस्थित होछंती आमे सारंकर दीर्घायु कामना करिबा एवं सार जेपरी आहुरी अधिकारु अधिका आम सहित एभली निरंतर भाव कथबार्ता करेंगे एवं बहुत कथा जणेबार प्रयास करेंगे से आशार सहित आउ एक एपिसोड निश्चित भाव आप सहित देखा हे रेडियो कोरापुटर समस्त श्रोता पाखे कृतज्ञता जनाई रोचे मु सीएच शांताकार पाणी सारंकर घर मध्य नमस्कार।